That's not how you do it, love. Your running form is off. You see, I've been doing it my whole life.
A teacher must be open and understanding. She should always listen to her students. Are you planning to have children in the next few years? Hello friends, you're watching in English. My name is Inna and today I want to talk about what is sexism. We'll have a look at some language that can be considered sexist in English. I will also tell you a few examples of sexism from my own life, and you will also learn a bunch of useful expressions which will be explained on the screen as we go. So what is sexism? Sexism is any expression, act, word, image or gesture based on the idea that some persons, most often women, are inferior because of their sex. I'm reading it out, obviously. Sexism is harmful because it produces feelings of worthlessness, self-censorship, changes in behaviour and deterioration in health. Can you imagine? So let me explain those things now, okay? So the feeling of worthlessness. If you feel worthless, it means you feel you are not important, not useful, and not valuable to anyone. Self-censorship now. If you self-censor yourself, it means you control what you say because you're scared of what other people might think. You're scared of their criticism or that they will become angry. And finally, deterioration in health. So if your health deteriorates, it means it becomes worse. So you can see that there are very clear negative consequences of experiencing sexism. Now, I want to share some personal examples of sexism, of when I experienced sexism in my life, but let me first make myself a cup of tea. All right. So, let's adjust the focus. Yeah. That's how we do it. May I just, yeah, thank you. My cat's gone, so I've decided to bring you a bit closer. I've got my tea here, and let me tell you 3 examples from my own life when I experienced sexism. So one day I was running in the park, and once I'd done the distance that I'd planned, I slowed down to, just walk and slow down my heart rate. I also took my earphones out so that I could really enjoy the moment, hear the birds. And as I was going past a man, I think he was in his 60s, and he said, "Your running form is off, love. That's not how you do it." He was about to say something else, but I just quickly walked past him and said, "Not interested." To which he replied, "But I just wanted to help. You see, I've been running my whole life." This is a classical example of mansplaining. So mansplaining is when a man explains something to a woman because they think that the woman is less knowledgeable and less experienced. In the past, when a man tried to mansplain something to me, I would always try and stay polite and even often listen to what they had to say. But now I understand that I have every right to say it's none of your business. If you don't know whether something is mansplaining or isn't, ask yourself 2 questions. The first question is, did you ask for this advice? I mean, if you're a woman, did you ask for it? And the second question is, would this man who's trying to mansplain something to you, would this man try and explain it to another man? There is another story, more appalling than the first one. So I was on the beach just soaking in the sun, but standing. And an elderly man was passing by and he stopped, cast a glance at me, and then he said, "Don't get me wrong, sweetie, I'm an old man. You've got a wonderful figure, but that thing on your backside, such a shame, isn't it?" So that was kind of a rhetorical question about the cellulite I've got on my bottom. And I think that was rude and unacceptable and absolutely sexist. And I just said, "None of your business," but I actually wanted to talk back. And that man would never have said it to another man, would he? The third story happened when I was applying for my first job at university. I was 22, then married. And one of the questions that I was asked at the job interview was whether I was planning to have children. Well, she meant in the near future, whether I was going to have children in the near future. And she said, "Well, I hope you understand why I'm asking, because if we take you on and you get pregnant, that won't be good for us." And actually, yes, that was a woman. So it's not only men who can be sexist. So yeah, women can be sexist to other women too. To be fair, women and men can be sexist towards men as well, but I'm talking from my own experience as a woman. So at that time, I was just a shy young woman and also really needed that job. So I told the truth. I said I was not planning to have kids, and they took me on, and I didn't report it to anyone. I didn't report being asked that question. And I don't think, I understand from my experience that not all women always are in a position to defend themselves and to report such things. But once we find our feet in life, I think we should do everything we can to speak up and fight against sexism. Now I wouldn't tolerate that question, and now I'm also empowered to tell you what I think and maybe encourage some of you to take a stance. So sexism is not only what we do, it's also what we say or write. One example of sexism in language is the use of pronouns. So very often when people speak about other people in some professions, they tend to use just one pronoun, either he or she, to refer to a person in that profession. And the choice of whether you use he or she often depends on the profession you're talking about. So people will very often use she to talk about teachers, for example. So if you don't want to sound sexist, don't use he or she. Replace that with this in writing, and when you speak, you can just say he or she, his or her, him or her. So instead of writing, a teacher must be open and understanding. She should always listen to her students. You can write, a teacher must be open and understanding. He or she must always listen to his or her students. However, there are people who don't like that. Some say, and why not she or he, or her or his? Why do you need to say he or she? And I think they have a point. Secondly, writing or saying he or she, his or her all the time is a bit too cumbersome, So some people choose to replace it with they, them, or their, to refer to one person without stating their sex. So it doesn't actually refer to many people when you say they. It can refer to just one person. So you could say a teacher must be open and understanding. They must always listen to their students. I personally love this option, although I know that some people consider it incorrect grammar. So it's up to you which option you like best. So if you want to find out more about sexist language in English, you can visit this page. I will also leave the link in the description. Now, to sum it up, here's what is considered sexist. Now, I've got a list here and I'm going to read it. I didn't learn it by heart. I'm going to read it from a sheet of paper that my cat has just snacked on. So, using either the masculine or the feminine pronoun only to refer to a person in a job. A sexualized depiction of women in the media. Media reporting on violence against women which blames the victim. Favouring a man rather than a woman for a managerial position by presuming a lack of authority. Mansplaining. Sexualised comments or comments about the appearance of or family situation of politicians, most often women. Comments on other people's appearance related to their sex in public places. A judge implying to a victim of sexual violence that she was asking for it. Textbooks containing stereotypical images of women and men, boys and girls. Demeaning men who play feminine sports. Women in sexy outfits as decoration in cultural or sporting events. Women performing more unpaid care and household work than men. Sexist jokes between friends. That's not the whole list, but enough to get the idea. If you want to find out more about sexism, please visit this link. I'll leave it in the description box. I have to say that there's still one thing I'm not sure whether I agree with in this list. So, okay, the last point on this list was sexist jokes between friends. Yeah, maybe sexist jokes are bad, but you have to be very careful to distinguish between sexist jokes and jokes about sexes. So what I mean by that is that I believe that humour can and should be used as a way to raise awareness about social ills. So I actually think that if a joke is clever and has a deeper meaning behind it, anything can be joked about. Literally anything. That's just my opinion. You are free to disagree with me in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a like and maybe subscribe to help me promote my videos on YouTube. See you.